Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! A new book. Was that over the top?
Yes, but it's Wheel of Time, so it's fine. We love these books.
Here we go. Book 7, A Crown of Swords.
Hi there, and welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where a father and son sit down and talk about fantasy books. I'm the son of that equation, Zach.
And I'm the father, Jim. And, we do talk about other things than fantasy books.
Not today.
Not today. Not today, my friends. We are here for a Wheel of Time episode, specifically beginning our journey through Book 7, A Crown of Swords. That means we have a whole whopping mess of episodes on this channel covering the first 6 books already. And if you're into the Wheel of Time, that is one of the primary themes of this channel. Be sure to look for those playlists and check them out. And of course, if you're gonna do that, you ought to subscribe. So thank you to the many of you who have already subscribed. We've been gaining multiple subscribers every day. We super appreciate every last one of you. If you want to be part of that, then just hit that subscribe button down there. And for this episode, we hope you enjoy it. If you do, tell us with a like. Thanks. So how you doing today, Zach?
I'm doing all right. Excited to get into a new book. I might get interrupted at some point in the next 10 to 15 minutes because I think Rach is out getting us some bagels this morning.
Ooh.
But she also might be like, nah, I don't want to interrupt the recording. So we'll see.
We'll see. I don't know what we're doing for food at all today because your mother has a routine procedure on Monday that limits what can be eaten.
And it's not just like a fasting within a certain amount of time. It's like no, you can't have this or this for the 3 days beforehand or something.
Right. Public service announcement, people. Colonoscopies are some one of those things you're supposed to do as you get older. I've had my first one. This is your mother's first. I've got my second supposed to happen this summer. They're not a lot of fun, but they're not all that difficult. The hardship is the 3 days leading up to them where you, pare down more and more what you can eat. The
Juice
final
cleanse.
day, it's like liquid clear diet, Ugh.
Yeah, but it is what it is. It's a little unfortunate, but it's important for your health.
Yes. Yeah. So, I don't know what we're eating today, but I'm drinking coffee. Coffee is good. Coffee is life.
Coffee is pretty good. I don't have any of that yet.
Is your coffee maker still broke?
Yeah, we still haven't been able to
Those
get
don't
it
cost much.
into it.
I know you don't have big incomes right now, but they're really cheap.
One, we have other coffee makers. We just then would have to go get the other beans and things and reset and do it whole thing. 2, I haven't pushed to go do that because I don't want to necessarily have it be a thing of, well, I said I was going to take care of this thing. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I don't mind just spending the $150 to just get something new. So,
wow, $150. What kind of coffee maker do you want?
Notably, it's not our coffee maker that is broken. We have something to make a just standard pot of coffee that's currently in the garage. We got an espresso for a Hanukkah gift last year. That's what got an electrical error, and we're figuring out a whole mess.
Okay.
So it's like if your Keurig had broken, but nicer.
Well, we are gathered here today to start off this new book, and just a little description of what this will mean then. As we work our way through the book, we're making no commitments or promises as to how long it's going to take, how fast we're going to go. We're going to talk about each section and chapter as we move through them, brief summaries, and then chew on aspects, what's significant and relevant. As in the past, this is spoiler-lite, so we'll talk about anything that's happened before, but we won't ruin things that are still to come.
Full spoil the past, hint at the future.
Well said. Apparently, we will also sometimes reference phallic symbols.
Hey, you did it, not me.
If you don't get that, we're not going to explain. So let's get into this. A Crown of Swords starts off with a big prologue, like many of the Wheel of Time books do. which is your chance to catch up with a lot of different aspects and plot lines that have been tossed out there. This one does that. Very, very traditional in that sense. So let's kind of touch on all the little things that are in the prologue.
All right, catch me up. What do we got?
Well, we get Elida. Who doesn't love Elida, right?
Ooh.
Elida Sedai fretting over maintaining her hold on the White Tower, the power that is hers as the Amerlin seat. And she's pondering a foretelling that she's had. She believes her foretelling is good news, that it shows the White Tower being whole again.
Well, that part's probably good.
And Randall Thor bowing to her will.
What was the actual wording there?
You know, there's a thing that a lot of people do, and Elida is as guilty of this as anything, of seeing things the way you want to see them.
Mm-hmm.
And it blinds you to other possibilities of what something might mean. Elida's foretelling is 100% true, because foretelling is a real thing, people.
However,
but that doesn't mean she's interpreting it right.
The words she says are not voiced with intent from herself. Rather, they are voiced from a sense of truth that she then has to parse out the meaning of herself just as much as anyone else.
This is a fatal flaw of Elida, and this is somewhat spoiler-lite. You know, we're not going to give you the details and why, but she has a rock-solid confidence in her interpretation of the foretellings she's had over the years. And she can't fathom that she's misinterpreted anything.
I mean, we could even, at this point in our story, say these are foretellings she's had for decades that she's interpreted incorrectly.
Yes. And it turns her slightly into a tragic character who you might feel bad for if she wasn't such a schmuck.
We'll keep going and eventually decide whether or not I feel bad for Elida ever. Not yet. I'll tell you that.
We get in this prologue Elida ordering Alviarin, her keeper of the chronicles, to send some sisters to the Black Tower. Why would they do that? This Black Tower thing is not a good thing, and maybe we need to check this out. Maybe we need to get a little closer to what's going on over there.
It's also, you know, just like pushing those boundaries a little bit more, considering Rand had like his one rule be, I said I don't go there.
I said I don't take orders well.
No.
Neither
does Rand.
Also in the White Tower, we get a little bit of Messiana, or Masana, depending how you like to say it.
Either way, bad person.
Why is Masana a bad person?
She's a Forsaken.
Oh, okay, that would do it. And she's hidden in the White Tower somewhere. We know she's here. We don't know in what way.
We don't even know if it's hidden, or plain sight, like posing as a Aes Sedai, or there's a lot of like, we're not entirely sure.
She could be a scullery maid.
She's there.
She wouldn't be a scullery maid, but she could be a scullery maid.
Well, she could appear to be a scullery maid.
But Alviarin has had contact with her before. Messiana is one of those who is freely bossing Alviarin any way she wants, giving orders. And she gives Alviarin an order here that's very interesting. She is to intentionally undermine Elida and her authority, and otherwise sow chaos amongst the structure and stability of the White Tower Aes Sedai.
Which, on the one hand, is actually like a point in Elida's favor, maybe, because like maybe that means she's not actually evil. But on the other hand, like, we see dark friends plot against each other all the time, so who really knows? We can't confirm or deny fully at this point.
Yeah, we've certainly had a sense that Forsaken are willing to interfere with each other's plans. No issue there. So, yeah. But Alviarin, yeah, she's supposed to mess things up. And she doesn't really like that, but you don't push back on an order from a Forsaken. She does like something else she's given, though, at that point. Masana teaches Alviarin how to create a gateway, how to travel.
So many people are gonna know this now.
I mean, that's big time. We haven't had any of the bad people besides Forsaken, to our knowledge, knowing how to travel.
Well, and going a step further from just the bad people, we really haven't had any female channelers consistently knowing how to travel yet. Avienda did it once. Egwene traveled through dreams, not gatewaying. She did then later gateway, having learned from Mogideon in the
Right.
club. But
It
it's
was
like
late in the last
right at
book.
the
She
end of
created
the
a
last book.
gateway. She created a gateway to send the people close to Ebudar.
At the end of the last book, we got a Forsaken teach someone. Start of this book, we got a Forsaken teach the other side someone. More people are getting access to this. We
Ooh,
can kind of say,
balance.
starting here in A Crown of Swords, traveling is going to be just one of the normal things, probably, for all individuals who can potentially channel. It's a possibility.
Lord of Chaos ended with Dumai's Wells, the Battle of Dumai's Wells, the big, horrific battle.
They blowed shit up.
And we're going to talk about the aftermath of that in these first few chapters, but we get a little bit of the aftermath here in the prologue when we get a bit of a focus on Savannah and her Shido.
They got away.
The ones that are still around and fleeing. They got to go. They're taking off. Also, Gawain and his younglings, where they were allowed to leave. They didn't get chewed up in the meat grinder. They are still out there and heading off there just to see where else can we go and what can we do now. In regards to Savannah specifically, she was the one that caused the Aes Sedai and Shido Aiel to have a conflict before Perrin and everybody even showed up.
Yeah.
Savannah's overall goal is reinforced here because she's still living in the delusion of it that Rand al'Thor will be her husband.
No, he won't.
Oh, yes, he will. She's going to make that happen. That's still something she's going to be driving to try to accomplish. At least that's what we get in the prologue.
Savannah, Rand's already got one bond against his will. I don't think he's willing to take another.
We get a very sad thing now, jumping somewhere else. We jump across the continent to Amadicia, where we get to see Pedron Niall's assassination.
Yeah, this is borderline, is it sad? Because, like, Pedron Niall has not been a good guy through a lot of this.
I would argue against that, but go ahead.
The thing is, he has been a smarter, better option, and in many ways, a form of restraint on what the Children of the Light could end up being in this story. He does some arguably good things. He is maybe himself a good guy, but it's not like I have any lost sleep over him dying, per se. I have issues with the fact that it means he gets assassinated, therefore we get a new leader of the Children of the Light that we don't like.
Right. Pedron Niall, the thing that was good about him was that he had a moral code. He was not doing what he did for his own power and purposes. It was for the belief of what he truly, genuinely felt was necessary for the world.
That being said, he was not zealous about it. He believed in what he did, but not to such a religious fervor that he disregarded that moral code that you stated.
Right. I mean, he was wrong. We know that, but he didn't know he was wrong, and he was working for genuine purposes. And you're right, at times that means he did things that others would describe as horrible. Choices, orders that he gave to his children to do that, no, that's not good. But it was to move forward a greater agenda that was for the need of the world through his world vision. Now, he's assassinated because that's exactly what he's doing. But others who don't see things with big enough vision and picture don't agree, can't understand what's going on, and just think he needs to be out of the way. And you say, he's replaced by someone horrible. Yeah, Eamon Valda is in it for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
He just wants the power. He wants to be in charge. He's the worst kind of guy to have in charge of a zealous, do what anyone tells me order like this. And in fact, I mean, the White Cloaks are always this close to just murdering people and being bullies.
Yeah.
Always. They attract those kind of people. There are some who are better. And when the ones who are better are the ones in charge, it kind of keeps them a little more in check.
It's a literal witch hunt organization. You need regulation or you just have riots.
So this is not going to be good. That's what we get here. There's been a shift at the top of the organization, and we're left to wonder what the fallout will be. We get a little snapshot of the Shanshen, reminding us, hey, they're still here.
Oh, goody.
And that they're returning to the mainland. And the snapshot includes one of our past acquaintances. Eginin is coming back into the story.
Oh,
So
goody.
that was nice. Eginin has had a little bit of a shift.
That one we can enjoy.
From the way she was before, but hey, we're going to have her again. And then we get, and this was something I really enjoyed in the prologue when I read it the first time, and every time I continue through it, when we get this fascinating additional perspective or point of view of Mogideon's escape, freeing and escape. We'd seen it from Mogideon's point of view.
Mhm.
Now we get to see it from Egwene's point of view. You know, and what just happened kind of thing. And that was cool. It's like, we know what's happening. You don't, but we do.
Getting just context.
Yeah. So that's a lot of little things. What else? Anything else you want to talk about in there? I mean, Mogideon's free now. That can't be good.
Yeah, that's probably going to have some impact or consequence. Hopefully not too bad, right? Like, you mentioned earlier balance, which I think is a really fun thing to bring back into this perspective. I love talking about balance in the Wheel of Time, period.
Sure.
And it is very interesting that we go from a book about letting the Lord of Chaos rule to immediately establishing, no, we're balancing the playing field back out. I think it's just a key thing to keep in mind as we keep going.
Now, where's Mogideon going? She's going to report to Sheol Ghul. Do you think she might be in trouble? I mean, she's given all sorts of knowledge and secrets to the enemy, the good guys.
Look, the last person who did that ended up dead in a pantry. But that one was also probably more willful. So maybe things are going to be a little bit more okay. Probably going to have some punishment, but maybe not just like,
I mean, everybody knows the
murder,
Dark
kill.
Lord is a very understanding and forgiving type.
He's not, but he's more the kind of one to tighten the leash as opposed to just abandon a useful tool.
Ironic, tighten the leash. No, she just had the leash taken off.
Let's put a new one on.
Oh, poor Mogideon.
No.
We don't have a lot of sympathy for Mogideon. One of my favorite Forsaken over the course of the series because of the various twists and turns in the plot that Mogideon's involved with. So, foreshadowing, there'll be more Mogideon. You know, clearly
darn.
She's free. This is not the end. You know, you're going to see more Mogideon, and you will enjoy it. But that's our prologue. Chapter 1 is called High Chasseline, or Chasseline.
I don't know how that's said.
Casseline. If it was Vaseline, that's how I'd pronounce it. So, could be High Chasseline.
That actually sounds pretty good.
It does, doesn't
I like
it?
that.
Yeah. Hey, let us know if you guys like that. Or if it's to something else, phonetically put it in the comments. Go ahead. We'll see if we can learn from you. The aftermath of Dumai's Wells is the primary purpose of this chapter. It's not the only chapter focusing on that, but this is the primary. And we kind of get perspectives on multiple different people and characters, jumping point of views in this chapter. Rand al'Thor, of course. This dude is scarred. Okay, there's some PTSD going on for him now. You know, he freed himself in the battle thanks to the guy in his head. So that's ongoing. Also, as he looks around and sees the result, and this is in his head too, the result of what he has put into action.
Which isn't just like the result of his active power, his own, but the result of the Asha'man, the power wielded as a weapon. He said, make these men into weapons for me. And now he's seeing, what does that look like?
Yeah. He created this. He can't undo this now. I mean, this is a real thing. And so many dead bodies. So many. Of so many different groups of people. You got dead Aiel. You got dead
Kyrianen?
Kyrianen, thank you.
There'd even be
I
some
think there's
potential Aes Sedai
I think there's
warder
dead Aes Sedai out
um,
here. Yeah.
and or youngling peoples. There's a
There's
number
dead
of just
wolves. I mean,
so sad.
yeah,
Just good doggos.
just so much death.
Just good shadow murder doggos.
The battle really showcases the brutal reality of what this war that's coming, this war against the shadow, is going to be all about.
A
He
lot of
knew
people dead.
he needed to prep a power that could do something like this, but to see it actually in action and the result, it's like, is the price worth it?
Especially when you think about the idea of, yeah, we needed this power to combat Shadow Spawn and Dreadlords potentially, and these various evil things, and it had to get used first on people who may be bad or misguided or problematic, but aren't necessarily directly of or created by evil. They're just people.
So we start by using it on ourselves. And he doesn't do well causing deaths. They burden him. We've seen that already. So this is going to be a weight added on all the other weights that Rand's carrying around.
Especially all the women.
We'll come back to that in the next chapter.
Yep.
As one of Rand's closest and longest friends, we've got Perrin Ibarra here, who's watching Rand. And, he has senses. Perrin has senses. So it's, sharpened senses. So it's more than just his eyes. He can just sense, smell, feel how badly Rand is taking this, how deeply he's been affected by the battle. But at the same time, Perrin is also feeling that. Perrin is a gentle soul who can do a whole heck of a lot of damage. He knows that. And he personally did do a lot of damage here in the battle. But it was more than just personal. He brought the two Rivers folk with him. He brought Aes Sedai and Warders. They were all involved. He brought Wise Ones. Perrin's choice to come to save Rand, calling the wolves, yes, contributed to all that happened here. As he reflects on this carnage too and his role, he's feeling it. He is also traumatized here. But there's something else that troubles Perrin.
Yeah.
He's troubled by Rand's new relationship with the Aes Sedai. This doesn't feel right to Perrin. I mean, Perrin's no big fan and lover of Aes Sedai either.
No, but there's a certain level of subjugation of the Aes Sedai that Rand has done here that doesn't feel good.
I mean, some of them are being kept as prisoners. Some of them are not quite prisoners, but they had to swear fealty to him. They are his obedient servants now, and he is not treating any of them with honor.
And to be clear, this is Aes Sedai, not just the Aes Sedai that captured him and were there who had taken him, the ones that were working against him, but the Aes Sedai that came with Perrin to help are also getting the same treatment.
So Perrin's like, these are good Aes Sedai? And how can you be treating them like this?
And Rand's going, yeah, sure, good witch, bad witch, doesn't really matter. At the end of the day,
I will never trust an Aes Sedai
again. Trust them.
And as Perrin is here then, caring for his friend and feeling the need to be loyal to Rand and support him, even though disagreeing with him, he also has in the back of his head this nagging concern for his wife, Fail, who he left behind. And this is going to be a theme that I think we're going to see develop because they're introducing it here, this tug between the need to be loyal and supportive to Rand, the need to be loyal and supportive to his wife, the need to protect Rand, the need to protect his wife.
Perrin, I see you, I hear you, I get it, but burn down the world for your wife. Come on.
You don't need to encourage this, Zach. You don't need to encourage this.
I'm not saying you go out of your way to destroy the world. I'm just saying, like, if you have to choose between your best friend and your wife, choose your wife. Because she should be your best friend.
And darn the world?
If necessary.
Oh man, I'm so glad you
I
weren't appearing
sympathize
in the
so
Wheel of
much
Time.
more with villains than I do heroes sometimes because a hero is willing to sacrifice the person they love for the world. The villain will burn down the world to save the person they love.
Yeah, I'm not lifting that up as a good thing. So we've talked a little bit about the Aes Sedai. We do get some more focus specifically on them in this chapter as well, because we've got some that are sworn to him. We have others that are just prisoners. They are not bowing the knee. They're nothing. So they are prisoners now, and how they are treated, even already how they've been treated, but how they are treated moving forward could have huge political ramifications for Rand.
Yeah.
He does not like Aes Sedai, but he knows he needs the Aes Sedai
Yeah,
for
that
what's
voice in his head
coming.
might be saying, "Hey, we did it without them last time. We can't do that."
Yeah, for what's coming, he's gonna have to have them on his side. And imagine what's spinning. Maybe he's like, "Hey, I have these. Maybe I can get more and make them like these."
There's a certain amount of like understanding in Rand's head that for 6 books he's had various Aes Sedai basically tell him, "You need to get on our leash. You need to bow to us, and we will use you for the last battle." And Rand's finally gone so much of a tipping point here. The switch has flipped, and he needs to go. Well, how about we do the other way? If one of us has to bow to the other, y'all bow to me. We'll be
That's
on the
right.
same side when you do what I tell you. It's not necessarily for the better that this switch has happened, but it makes sense.
This is part of what's dangerous here and part of what bothers Perrin. You can see the simplicity of it for Rand. Finally saying, "Hey, if I can stop having to play their games and just give orders and they do it, this whole thing gets easier. Maybe I should just lean into this a little more."
Sorry,
Hmm.
Rand, this wasn't meant to be easy.
So Rand is struggling here a little bit. He has to be strong. He has to show that he's not going to back down to Aes Sedai whining, cajoling, begging, or demanding. But he also doesn't want to further alienate the Aes Sedai, no more than necessary. So he's going to try to find a balance somehow. That's kind of what's in his mind.
Oh, hey, look, there's that pesky balance again.
Yeah. So the general tone of this chapter is filled with uncertainty. This is kind of where this book starts. Okay, we won a big battle. The balance of power has shifted. It's not Aes Sedai are all strong. No, no, look, we got Ashaman. Look what we can do. The balance has shifted. But now what? What do we do next? Where does this go? That's the question. That moves us to chapter 2, the Butcher's Yard, which is just a horrific name for a chapter. It's appropriate, but
Very.
because, Rand is searching through the Butcher's Yard.
The carnage and the human viscera.
Yeah. Observing all of the dead. And what he's doing in particular, you already called it before. What is he looking for as he observes the entire carnage in front of
He's
him?
looking in particular for the
And
women who
not just any
died.
women, the maidens. The women who
Specifically.
died for him.
And he's got his maidens with him. He's getting their names.
He
All
has
of
this
them.
long list already in his head, memorized all those women who have died for him, died because of him, and now he's adding more.
And I love that through all of this, he almost always forgets one or two of the earliest women that he ended up killing.
Like
Like the one that he killed when he was on the road to Tyr.
that dark friend.
Absolutely. Kills her, never really thinks about it, forgets about it. It's a huge character thing for Rand that anytime, whether it's a friend or a foe, that if he causes harm, kills a woman, it makes an impact on him. Except that one time.
He wasn't entirely in his right mind at that point. He had channeling sickness.
I
So
just always find it a little humorous.
Okay.
Just
We
that
like what we
it's
like.
so important to him, but he forgets some of the earliest ones. Period.
Now, some are wondering what's going on with Rand. Is he like losing it? Because shouldn't we be moving forward and talking about plans and making decisions? And all he wants to do is wander the battlefield, staring at dead people. And Perrin's like, guys, back off. He's still sane. He's just doing
He's
what he needs to
processing and
do.
grieving.
Yep. So since Rand isn't in a real talking mood at the moment, some do come up to Perrin to try to broach topics, and one of these leads to an argument. Karuna Sadai, one of the
Mhm.
Aes Sedai that is now sworn to Rand, is one of the, I think was the leader of the group that had met up with Perrin and then came with. We had that humor in the end of the last book where she allowed Perrin's group to join them, and Perrin allowed her and her group to join.
Of course.
But when they approached the actual battle, Perrin gave Karuna and the other Aes Sedai orders to stay back, don't get into the danger of what was happening up there. And she disobeyed that order. She and the other Aes Sedai and their warders went right into the mix. And Perrin is not happy about that.
As he shouldn't be. However, it does make sense based on Aes Sedai limitations why they did this. However, it points out that the limitations a little dumb.
How so?
Because for Aes Sedai to be able to really engage and do this, to use the power as a weapon, as they were, they need to have it as their last resort. They need to be under the
Mortal
threat of
danger.
imminent harm or death for themselves or their warders. They need this for the oaths to let them do this. And it's not just, oh, they gave their word. No, they're actually bound to this, so they cannot do it. Which is a little bit just like poor planning in terms of like, if you were actually designing this as a military force, keep them out of it. Yeah, for sure. But they didn't design Aes Sedai purely as a militant force.
They're supposed to stay out of such things. They really are not supposed to get involved in this.
My 2 cents, however, is probably that they still could have thought a little bit further, considering the oath says in the last defense of themselves or their warder. They could just send the warders in and have stayed out, technically. It probably would have worked.
Possibly. Might have limited them a little more than they wanted to be limited.
Maybe.
And that kind of comes into play. They wanted to throw themselves into this because they needed to protect the Dragon Reborn. There was a driving imperative here.
The wording of things always leads it to be a little bit of a subjective thing of like, if you can convince yourself and truly believe, in the same way that if you truly believe you're telling the truth, even if you're wrong, you can still speak that thing. In the same way, if you truly believe that it was necessary and it was dangerous, then you could do it. So it just means they weren't able to rationalize it well enough. They had to put themselves in there.
Now, the next conversation that comes along here, another argument, is not one Perrin's specifically having. There's a bit of a heated debate going on between the Ashaman and the Wise Ones as to who's going to take control of supervision, oversight of the Aes Sedai prisoners. The Ashaman totally feel we have, I mean, we've dominated here.
Okay.
We clearly have the power to handle them. We should take them over. And the
No.
Wise Ones are like, we know how to handle women. Okay, this is our realm. We got this. And they're not going to come to a peaceful understanding with each other. But Rand does snap out of what he's doing to settle this one. And of course, he says
that the wise ones are going to watch them. And it is the correct decision here. Even just from the perspective of, yeah, the wise ones can actually see if the Aes Sedai were to like try to channel. Y'all can't. But leaving the logical, like reasonable thing out of it, let's go to the extent that the wise ones, at least being Aiel, follow Jaito. They have a certain sense of honor with this. They might be a little bit too trusting, but they're probably not going to be like horribly harsh. And Rand is still trying to preserve a certain amount of relationship with Aes Sedai, even as he's trying to force this new relationship, this new form of it. If he went and put the Ashaman there, he's endorsing them too much, giving too much power to the Ashaman, and making it likely that they're going to abuse that power and possibly abuse the Aes Sedai.
100%. However, This doesn't necessarily mean this was lucky for the Aes Sedai, that they're going to get to be with the wise ones. The wise ones are not going to be kind to these Aes Sedai. They will see it as treating them appropriately, but you know how brutal the wise ones can be to women.
They're not kind, but they're kinder than the Ashaman might have been.
Yeah, I think so. Rand then kind of does a couple of things that are a little contentious here. One, he says it's all of the Aes Sedai that were captured are going to be with the wise ones under their control. So this includes the ones that swore fealty to him. No, you're all going. I don't want any of you to stay around me. And they're like, no, but we need to be with you. We need to help you, is what he hears like from Baruna. We need to be with you. No, nope, out. I want nothing to do with you. But Alana, heal me. This is a smart move. Okay, Rand is physically very messed up. He's been, trapped in that box and stuff, and he's sore and bruised from all the beatings and stuff. Having Alana heal him, why? Why does he specifically choose her?
He will never trust an Aes Sedai, right? But he can at least a little bit trust an Aes Sedai to have some self-preservation. She bonded him. She's not going to go out of her way to make him physically injured or dead, at least.
That makes sense. She also can't bond him again. Any other woman he might allow to use the power on him could bond him. It could happen again. None of you are getting anywhere near me with your power. I'm sure that's part of what's in his head too. Alana can't do anything worse than what she's already done. It's kind of how he says it. Like you said, she's not going to hurt him. It would hurt herself,
Any of y'all could share your magic cooties with me, but I already have her germs.
I already have her magic cooties. Nice. All right, Mazrim Taim, the head of the force of Ashaman. He lost that battle. He doesn't get to take the Aes Sedai with him. Now he gets a little more insistent on his next priority, though. I want to leave a contingent of Ashaman with you now. They're trained, they're ready, and you've demonstrated through what happened here that you should have people watching your back. People who can really watch your back. Taim is quite disdainful of everyone else other than the Ashaman. So he insists Rand accept some soldiers and dedicated to be on guard duty, basically, and help him out however he needs. And Rand's like, fine. And I'll take that guy too. Just randomly picks one of the full Ashaman, a guy named Corlin Dashiva.
And let's just keep in mind, anything Rand does that is random is really just saying it's in the hands of the Taviran. It's in the hands of the wheel.
So you're supposed to notice this, people. Spoiler-lite, hint, hint. There might be something significant about Dashiva. And I'd say it's significant that he's going to have all these Ashaman around him. We're going to get to meet them, get to know them as we move forward.
Some of them we'll even like.
It changes the game a little bit. And with that, then, the various groups prepare to head off to their new destinations as they go back to the Black Tower, Kyrian, wherever their missions will lead them now. One last note as the chapter ends. Rand learns that Taim has accepted a title, Mahail, which is Old Tongue for leader.
Taim, you gotta step back from your power plays here, man. It's getting dangerous.
Yeah. I think that's enough.
That's a good little dipping our toes in. We've done kind of an initial review of what happened in the last book, which is really how this book starts.
Yep. That wraps up the Dumai's Well aftermath, and the story will advance starting with chapter 3.
Yeah, we'll go wells beyond that after this.
Wells beyond. So yeah, good stuff. It's going to be a great book. We have some books that are coming in the series that some people think, have little weaker parts and stuff. Not this one yet. This one's a pretty good book.
Depending on who you talk to, I think this is the one that some people say it's going to get a little.
The slog starts here, but there's a lot to this book. I'm good with this book.
I didn't ever really experience too bad of a slog because I didn't have to wait a year plus for each book.
Well, we're not sloggy yet. We got good stuff. And the way we're going to do the summaries, they won't slog. We're just going to move right through. Absolutely. But that's where we'll leave you. Again, got comments? Put them in the comment box. We hope you'll like the episode and subscribe if you haven't. Thanks for joining us today. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.